I'm gagged.
Yeah.
Gagged. Not quite gooped. Maybe.
All of it.
Maybe. Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is why I'm watching The Rings of Power, Season 1, Episode 6.
Udûn? U-D-U-N, but there's a little
Mm.
on the U. I don't know. I can't speak the black language or fucking Elvish or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'll tell you what, I was smiling a lot, and during the battle, I got a little bit teary because it really felt like the movies.
You think so?
Yeah. The battle did.
It was, I was going to say, for me, it's not feeling like the movies, but I'm still enjoying myself.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, given the Tolkien of it all, given the Amazon of it all, given the $1 billion of it all, it's taking on an onus I don't think it deserves.
Okay.
I do think that there is something to be desired from the writing and
Sure.
a little bit of the plotting.
It's a little heavy-handed.
Some of it feels like the Saturday morning hour-long live action fantasy shows. And I don't hate it. I don't hate that. I don't hate that it's not quite as labored as the movies are, even though those feel like high art and this feels like corporate stuff.
Sure.
But I'm enjoying it. I don't know what to tell you. And it's not like amazing. Like, I'm not ready to, like, I wouldn't make this part of my life in the way that I think so many other people, like, make Lord of the Rings and or things an identity.
Feels a little pointed about my wedding.
No, because I think I think that the movies earn that a little bit more. That there's a popcorn aspect to this.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it because this is the second time that they threatened us with killing Bronwyn, and something deep within me is like, no, not Bronwyn. And I can't honestly say that I am that invested, like I'm that captivated by her, but
I do like that she hasn't been killed either of those times, because it's subverting one of those things that happens all the time where it's like she and Arondir had a conversation about how once the battle's over, they're gonna plant seeds together in a new garden, and I was like, oh, so she's just dead. And then she fucking survived.
But for me, the thing is this show, in spite of my praise, I think this show is just barely working. And so I think
like plot-wise.
Yeah, I think the last thing they need to do is take any of the characters that we have an ounce of fondness for and kill them off. Yeah. Because this is not a Ned Stark situation. We are not married to these characters the way we were. And I was afraid they were going to try and pull that. And I'm like, you're not that. I do find it amusing. What?
I'm just curious where you're going.
I find it amusing the times when the show has teeth. Because it's a pretty PG show.
Okay.
And then every so often something happens. Yeah. Like bleeding black eye goo into Arondir's mouth for what feels like minutes.
Yeah.
That's just like, ah!
That was the 9 minutes of the 1 hour and 9 minute runtime was just the black goo everywhere.
For me, there was a handful of jump scares in this one where something would happen and I'd be like, oh God.
Yeah. That's the other thing too, is I think you're right. It's interesting and sort of odd when it decides to have teeth, because if we know one thing, it's that not a single horse has died. These horses are made of adamantium or something. They're not a fucking injury.
The one of them got scratched.
He got scratched.
It's gonna come back.
It's gonna turn into an orc horse.
Maybe, because we can't find him. It ended with Isildur looking for him.
I thought he was looking for his friend. Is the horse named Beric?
I thought.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I bonded to the horse more than I did either of those two yahoos.
We'll see.
They're fine. They were fine. They were
fine in this. But that's just like, it's super funny to me that they are like, horses die in battle. He tripped
But I
that one with a stick and it went ass over tea kettle and there was like a 30-second shot of it getting up and walking away.
But again, I think if this is, I said this earlier, but this is giving me family-friendly Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
like,
but then,
this is what the families watch on Friday nights, and then on Sunday nights, the adults watch Game of
okay,
Thrones.
but to take that, it's like, sure, I get that, but then also in the same episode that they're working overtime to make sure we know none of the horses are dead, they're just slow stabbing villagers in the stomach. That's insane.
This is America. That's a rite of passage for children, having to watch gratuitous violence.
What was the John Mulaney? What's the thing he's talking about in that one stand-up that's on SVU, talking about like anal something? Contusions. You
can hear the grossest things.
Like 2:00 in the afternoon.
No, we're not getting any nipples. That's the real threat, the real villain in the world. It's boobies.
I demand nipples on Muriel's armor.
Oh my god, that would be so amazing. I love boob armor.
Mm-hmm.
People hate it so much because it's not practical, and I'm like, it's aesthetic. It's aesthetic. It just looks good. And also, I see, for me, I go kind of the opposite way. I go kind of like I'm a woman. Yeah, I'm a lady. Fucking look at my titties as I'm riding into battle. Like,
everyone was uncomfortable in the fitting for this armor.
But no, I was thinking, I actually like Arendir.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was very silly how he single-handedly handled all those orcs in the one tower. Although,
a lot of it was gravity.
Sure. And I did like when he did the superhero land. Yeah. It looked like it took it out of him for a second. He kind of was like, woof.
Yeah.
I appreciated that, because that's sort of what I still kind of can't stand Galadriel, but I'm in a place where I'm believing it's in world, because that rant, that like eugenics rant she went on with the Uruk, I was like, oh, I mean, I know that he's the bad guy, but you're saying things that don't sound great. And I
think was she not making a case against the like testing genetics?
I don't know. She was like, your species is an abomination to be wiped off the planet. She was saying a lot of things, and it's like, yes, I agree in the context that he is the bad guy and you are the good guy. But the phrasing that you're using, I have developed triggers to these words that I'm like, ding, 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 ding.
I get it.
And if I like the notion that it's not necessarily, because up until this point, I think they presenting her as like, isn't it amazing how badass she is? And I like that it would be like, oh, she's consumed by this.
Well, she also hasn't done anything actually badass till this episode. She's been just like walking around whining.
She swam the sea, the narrow sea or something.
She didn't get very far.
I don't know. But no, I really like Arendir. I'm so nervous because like Theo's kind of pulling through for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm invested in Theo.
We are not keeping this nuclear family intact. No way in hell.
The three of them?
The three of them, there's no way.
There was a point, and I've never been more convinced that he's Arendir's son and that he's half elf, because there was a point when he was running, and I think it was the actor, I don't think it was the character, but he like covered his one ear as he was running.
Yeah, I saw that too.
You were trying to keep your wig or your hair.
I saw that too.
I mean, some of the violence was a lot, because that one person that got shot on the roof, and then there was that extended shot of them falling over, sliding down and falling off.
And then they're just like plopping on the ground.
And you're right, we got 3 slow stabs, one of which was a woman. I was like, oh God.
Really tough.
I have no way of knowing if this is true or if this is just my excitement hyping it up. But this whole time, I haven't felt like I had a grasp of the Southlands.
Okay.
There was something about it that I was like, I'm not picturing it. Like there like my view of it felt limited in a way that I'm like, what's on the other side? The soundstage walls? And then there's a shot in this episode where they do finally, like we see it from here, here, and here, and then they finally show it from here, and there's a massive mountain. And I was like, fuck me sideways.
Yeah, like Mount St. Helens or Mount Fuji. It's like perfectly everything.
The reveal of that, I was gagged. I don't know why. Because I've been expecting, like, we're anticipating Sauron. We're anticipating the Balrog. We're anticipating things. Somehow I just wasn't anticipating that.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that I was, the third time that I was legit excited in this show. The first being Numenor, the second being Khazad-dûm.
Sure.
I love the payoff because I wasn't understanding the tunnels. It wasn't making sense to me.
Well, it was that. It was also, it was like, how come, as someone who's only familiar with like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, how come we don't know anything about the Southlands? How come that's like not anything that's come up before? So I was doing a lot of the same work in my head. Also, it's perfect on the map. If that's where it is, that's exactly right.
And I think that's why they kept it slightly veiled in what we've been seeing.
I totally agree.
They've shown it to us on the map, but to my recollection, they haven't shown us a big, like, in context.
Yeah.
A huge chunk of my enjoyment of the show is how big and lavish and expensive it is. That's just the type of person I am. But
I don't think you're alone.
But I'm saying I will, if I enjoy looking at something, I will stick with it long past its, not expiration date, but like other people, like your husband will tap out if it's just not interesting him. And I'm like, no, but I want to keep looking at it. I'll trudge forward. But, and again, to your point a couple weeks ago, apparently I really enjoy the Harfoots because their presence was missed in this episode.
Yeah, this was like the most self-contained episode we've had so far because it was like only in the Southlands.
Which has kind of been our least favorite plot, but the Mount Doom reveal justifies it.
And it stepped up this episode. It was like wall-to-wall action. It was really interesting. It had some decent, personal stakes. I don't know. I dug it.
But yeah,
but yes, the Mount Doom thing.
The entire
obviously
sequence and the weird like science behind it.
Yeah.
Because I saw the volcano or the mountain and I was like, okay, but what? Why? I was like, why is flooding this valley going to do that? And then when they show inside, I was like, oh, you can't put water into, I mean, I don't know much about magma. But I know you can't, hot oil doesn't appreciate water being introduced to it.
That is accurate. Yeah, I don't know what makes volcanoes explode or like go off.
If this is correct, or if this is not correct, I bought it.
Yeah, no, it's very,
for me.
It's very like absolutely the DNA of dinosaurs is inside amber mosquitoes.
I like Isildur. I've kind of liked, I think he's cute, and I think he's aired a little bit on the bland side, but I've enjoyed this here. I still like his dad. I still like that they're Elendil.
His fucking dad. Talking to horses and shit.
I still like the queen.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised at how much I am really enjoying it.
Yeah.
There's something I'm gonna do something terrible and I'm gonna bring up a topic and then say I am not gonna talk about the topic because I think it's a spoiler. But there's something that I have reason to believe they're doing. And if they're doing what I think they are, I actually think it's really great.
Okay.
So we got a comment. We love you guys. You're amazing. We love our fans. We don't exist without it. A couple of you are doing too much. We got a comment and I deleted it because I was like, oh, that's just a hard spoiler.
Yeah.
And so this whole time I've been like, I think this is what's happening.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
No
shade, but just like keep the spoilers to, if you know what's happening, keep the spoilers to a minimum if you can, because also some people who are watching us also don't know. So
well, and I mean, I know that this is like 70-year-old literature. I don't do math. I know that this is literature, and I know that, this is a prequel to media that is very readily available, but
80 maybe 70, 80.
But also they're taking creative licenses, which is half of the drama around it anyway. There's no reality where this show pleased
anybody.
Truly.
Don't know what to tell you.
So
there was like more than one fight, and it was like more than once we thought it was over. And like, let's just be honest, the Southlanders have had a bad 72 hours.
Hasn't been their day, their week, their month, or even their year.
They're not doing good. And then Halbrand was like, yes, I am the king that was promised. And
did I mention on camera? I can't remember. I finally got my Urukai. I've been waiting for that this whole season.
The like explanation?
Well, I knew that they were elves that were turned into like orcs.
Yeah, but so Adar, he seems like a third thing.
Well, he said Uruk.
That's not the same. Because then they were also calling him like Morgellonian or something. I think he's a third thing.
Okay.
But
well,
yeah.
Galadriel was like, I've heard tell of elves being perverted, and you're it.
Pervert.
And he was doing a usual suspect thing where he was too pleased in the way that they won that I was like, I don't.
Yeah, well, and then obviously they don't have that sword that they were it was just an axe, and so one of the human guys went up and he stuck it in that hole that was where they found the like carving in the wall and turned it, and that's what released all the water. It was very cool. It was very like scary high fantasy Rube Goldberg machine. It was really neat because that's the other thing too is it was like until I was looking at the volcanic mountain that I was like, oh, I thought they were just flooding the valley. And I was like, although if we're being honest, there's gonna be sinkholes. Like they're still gonna like there's water all below them. It's horrible.
I guess that's good for now. We'll be back next week. It's the second to penultimate episode.
Yep.
And I wish it was 10, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it softens the blow that we're definitely getting a season 2.
We are definitely?
Yeah, okay. It's been greenlit. Jeff Bezos said, I want my own Game of Thrones.
No, I understand that. I have no concept of this success. I'm not seeing a lot of people talking about it, but I don't have any concept of what success. I actually saw this article that really bummed me out that was talking about like Netflix's system is bad and they know it. There's like a division within the company that is like, we're ruining things with the way we're doing things. And I won't get into it now. We could talk about it off, but we're right and they're wrong.
Accurate. Super accurate.
So on that note, we'll be back next week, and like and subscribe and Patreon and all of that stuff.
Bye.